So, what if I told you that everything you think you know about emotions is, well, wrong? What if feelings like anger or joy or sadness aren't these automatic reactions that just happen to you, but are actually experiences that you actively create? Okay, let's get into this because it's a revolutionary idea. We're going to start with this absolute bombshell of a quote from neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett. And get this, she's not just talking about jurors, she means you, me, all of us. This one sentence just throws a wrench in the whole foundation of how we think we understand each other. And this isn't just some abstract academic theory. No, this had actual life or death consequences. Take the trial of the Boston Marathon bomber. The jurors had to decide between life in prison and the death penalty. And what did they do? They looked at Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's face, searching for any sign of remorse. What they saw was just a stone-faced stare. To them, that stare could only mean one thing. He was a cold, remorseless killer. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter, what Barrett calls the remorse myth, this really deep, fundamental misunderstanding of how our emotions actually work. But here's the twist. The piece of the puzzle they were missing was culture. In Tsarnaev's Chechen culture, a stone-faced stare is exactly what's expected of someone in his position. It's a sign of stoically accepting defeat. So you've got one expression, but two totally different meanings. Wild, right? That one example just completely blows up our old ideas about feelings. So before we can even get to what emotions are, we have to be crystal clear about what they aren't. We all kind of grow up believing these things are true, that emotions are these universal, hardwired circuits in our brains that just get triggered. But here's the thing. After decades of research, I'm talking analyzing facial muscles, body physiology, hundreds of brain scans, the science is overwhelmingly clear. These are myths. There are no emotion circuits just sitting there in your brain. Okay, so if emotions aren't pre-programmed reactions that happen to us, then what on earth are they? This is where it gets really, really cool. The big idea is called the theory of constructed emotion, and it flips the script entirely. It says emotions are not reactions to the world, they are guesses your brain makes to give meaning to the physical sensations happening inside your body. They're not built in, they are built by you. To really wrap your head around this, let's try a little experiment. Take a good long look at this image. What do you see? If you're like most people, it probably just looks like a bunch of black and white blobs. As you stare at it, your brain is working like crazy, sifting through every single experience you've ever had, desperately trying to answer the question, what is this most like? And if you're still just seeing blobs, you're in a state called experiential blindness. Experiential blindness. Sounds fancy, right? But all it means is that your brain doesn't have the past data it needs to make sense of the information it's getting right now. But don't worry, I'm about to cure you. I'm going to give your brain a new piece of data, a new experience to draw from. Ready? The image you were looking at is a snake. Okay, now look at the blobs again. See it now? That new piece of information you got just a few seconds ago has completely rewired how you see these blobs. And now you can't unsee the snake. Your brain is literally constructing the image of a snake for you. So here's the most important takeaway. What you just experienced is what neuroscientists call prediction. And this is how your brain works all the time, for everything. It doesn't just passively react to the world. It actively uses your past experiences to predict and construct your reality. And that is exactly how it creates emotions. All right, so this is a super cool brain trick, but how does it actually become a powerful tool you can use in your day-to-day life? Well, it's all about becoming the architect of your own experience. Let's make this super practical. Imagine a churning feeling in your stomach. Now, if you're in a bakery surrounded by the smell of fresh bread, your brain predicts you're about to eat and it constructs that feeling as hunger. But the exact same physical sensation in a hospital while you're waiting for test results, your brain predicts a bad outcome and constructs dread. Same sensation, different context, totally different emotion. The implication here is just enormous. It means you are not at the mercy of some mythical emotion circuits buried deep in your brain. You actually have way more control than you think because you can change the ingredients, the predictions, that your brain uses to create emotions in the first place. So how do we actually do this? Let's take test anxiety. You feel your heart hammering in your chest. Instead of just letting your brain default to the, oh no, this is anxiety story, you can step in and actively construct a new one. You can tell yourself, wait a minute, this isn't fear. This is my body getting energized, preparing me to absolutely crush this test. And studies show that students who learn to do this, to reframe that feeling as determination, they actually perform better. This newfound control is incredibly empowering, for sure, but it does come with a pretty heavy flip side. Let's talk about control and responsibility. Think about it. If you aren't just a passive victim of your emotions, if you are, in fact, the architect, then who's responsible for the emotions you construct and for the actions that follow? Well, you are. Not because you're to blame for your feelings, but because the experiences you create today become your brain's predictions for tomorrow. But this isn't about blame, it's really about empowerment. There's this great way of looking at it. We're responsible for something not because we're to blame, but because we're the only ones who can change it. You're the only one who has the power to change how your brain constructs your reality. And that really leads us to the final critical question. If you are the architect of your own experience, and you have the power to choose the ingredients your brain uses to build your emotional life, what will you choose to build?